Alright, this is Brandon Smith doing the audio recording assignment for JMC 204. I'm at my desktop right now. I have the recording we recorded in class in G23, where we interviewed one of our fellow students. I have the original file that I sent to my email account that is right here.
This is Brandon Smith from Media Milwaukee interviewing
Antoine Mack.
And what's your major, Antoine?
I'm going to take this file and drag it into Sony Vegas. Once the program loads, I will go ahead and simply pick up the application here and then just drop it into the field here. I'll let the wave files build up each other and I'll full screen it. Now, this program will allow me to basically do what GarageBand can do. It's just, I guess, on a smaller scale, and I'm more familiar with this program. What I'm going to do is listen to the interview and cut up my questions and his answers to start with. Then I'm going to take his answers and modify them to the 3 that we have to do for this assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and get started.
This is Brandon Smith from Media Milwaukee interviewing
Antoine Mack.
And what's your major, Antoine?
Journalism, mass communications. I'm looking to go into broadcast engineering.
How do you...
Okay. I guess even though this is junk, I'm still going to split it apart and go ahead and just get that over with.
This is Brandon Smith from Media Milwaukee interviewing
Antoine Mack.
And what's your major, Antoine?
Journalism.
Right now, I'm going to split my audio and his audio into different tracks, so I know in the future which is him and which is me.
And what's your major, Antoine?
Journalism, mass communications. I'm looking to go into broadcast engineering.
How do you spell your name? Sorry, I missed that.
Sure.
It's definitely something I'd probably cut out his answer to
Sure.
there, which is not a big problem. I'll go ahead and continue editing this.
Sure. Antoine, last name Mack, Mack.
Right on.
Okay, I'll go ahead and cut it right here.
Right on. So what interests you about the broadcasting aspect of the major?
Well, to be quite honest, I love to write. I've always been like a literary
aspect of the major.
Well, to be quite honest, I love to write. I've always been like a literary, I won't say, not a novice anymore, but I've always enjoyed like words and how to make them go together in proper diction, and then also have an affinity for the media, especially like broadcast media.
Right.
I wanted to get involved with doing like ESPN, like an anchor person type thing, but I don't know. I eventually I want to end up doing control room stuff, like working in a broadcast outlet and working in a control room.
Is there any...
Alright, that was quite a long quote, but we can go ahead and work with that. I'm going to make sure that this audio back up here is his.
So what...
That is mine, so I'm going to drag that up onto the next track. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue along this here. This interview actually extends to be almost 7 minutes, so it may take a little while, but we'll get there.
Is there any experience that you've had that triggered the desire to get into this, or has it been a culmination over a few years?
Actually, since I was 16, 17 years old, which is quite a long time ago, I was into music, and I've owned my own recording studio. I've done promotions, advertising, marketing, you name it, / performer, producer. So being involved with media always came natural to me. And I've performed like for large crowds before, so...
Alright, my mistake. What I'm trying to do is try to find a way so you can see the audio track in closer detail. Let me go ahead and take a moment here and see if I can find a audio editor. And apparently I don't have an audio editor specifically for audio. Vegas is a video editor, actually, and I've found over the years that it's a pretty decent audio editor in itself, just because you can see the waves and basically do what GarageBand can do. Perhaps not as complex things that you can do with a GarageBand. I'm not familiar with the program, so I'm not, too sure which of the two do not, or which has more features and which does not. My assumption is GarageBand does, but for the sake of familiarity, I know this program a lot more. Over the years, I've actually realized that there is a way to open up a audio preview window similar to the video preview window that you see to your right. More or less similar to the demonstration that you showed in class of the WAV file being displayed in a zoomed-in fashion at the bottom of the GarageBand window. Let me go ahead and take one more minute here to see if I can find such a window in this program. Alright. This isn't what was I looking for, but we'll go ahead and throw that in there anyway. It's a mixing control panel of all the tracks that you currently have, including the master audio for all of your tracks combined. But that's not what I was looking for. Okay, I believe that I won't be able to find it, but I've got my volume pretty high, and I can tell when clips are or when certain noises occur, in the background. So we'll make with what I got here, and I'll just continue rough editing this first draft.
Is there any experience that you've had that triggered the desire to get into this, or has it been a culmination over a few years?
Actually, since I was 16, 17 years old, which is quite a long time ago, I was into music, and I've owned my own recording studio. I've done promotions, advertising, marketing, you name it, slash performer, producer. So being involved with media always came natural to me. And I performed for large crowds before, so being seen and heard by crowds doesn't really bother me. So, like I said, right now it's just gathering the technical portion of it so that I can put that with the other side.
Alright, I'm guessing I speak here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut. Or split, rather.
So would it be fair to say that you would be like you're trying to be a jack of all trades?
Exactly. Just trying to find.
Alright, let me zoom in a little closer here and make sure that what I'm going to cut is accurate.
Just trying to find a happy medium, something, number one, that I don't hate doing every day, and number two, I can provide for myself, and eventually, if I have a family, that too.
Alright, I'm noticing that my voice in here is obviously much louder than his. A mistake on my part to keep the microphone pointed away from myself and closer to him.
Is your track for journalism and broadcasting something that you've always thought about doing, or is it would you rather do something else, but constraints, financial, like music and?
Well, ultimately.
Alright. Obviously, I can go in here and delete this chunk of garble, and I'll go ahead and do that. That's this audio right here.
Well,
obviously, I'll throw that away. This was a long question, so I'll throw that up here on track 1. Go ahead and listen to his reply.
Ultimately, I would like to have a humongous label like Kanye West, but right now that's not feasible in terms of finances. But I've always cringed when I saw or heard bad writing or bad speaking. So that naturally led me to journalism. Mm-hmm. And again, it's something that if I can find a find my niche is something that I would enjoy doing. Like a lot of people get up and go do 9 to 5 jobs or whatever time frame they work in. They go and they do those jobs, and a lot of them hate those jobs. Well, I've never felt that way with writing or broadcast, so it's just something. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in here and make sure that his last word does not interfere with my first word to my next question.
Yeah, you mentioned novelist and then broadcasting. Since broadcasting would be more of a constraint on how you write, more time constrained, and you got 20 seconds to write something. Why not print news instead, rather where you have more, less constraints?
Well, that's actually.
Okay, next his reply.
Well,
Alright, go ahead and throw that up to track 1.
Well, that's actually a good question. Again, it just depends on where I end up. I mean, first and foremost, it's all about like providing and making sure that you can make ends meet. So I like both sides of the coin. If I end up doing broadcast, that's fine. If I end up doing print, that's fine. I think that I'll be well suited in either genre. It just depends on where it ends up, where I can get a job, basically.
So you.
Okay, keep going here. Alright, if you notice that I'm looking around with my mouse as the interview's going on, it's nothing to worry about. I'm just looking for the thing I was talking about earlier with a zoomed-in audio editing feature that would show me a larger view of the same audio stream that I'm currently working with. But until then, I'm just going to continue these rough cuts.
So you have no. Once you graduate here, what would be the dream job?
The dream job would be. That's an excellent question. The dream job would be living in a warm climate state and finding new artists, breaking new artists into the music industry, helping them to make their bones, and eventually seeing them go on to become superstars, whether it be like on the underground or whether it be a pop star or whatever, because music comes natural to me, and the executive side of it is what I'm also interested in, which again correlates perfectly with media.
Right. Right. I mean, when you talk about music, my dad's he owns a sound production studio, and I've been a drummer for 13 years, so music is where it's at.
Definitely.
But you mentioned you wanted to be in like the control room,
Definitely.
which is, I guess a different facet to what you were to writing. So I mean, what is there anything that inspired you to? Was it your music that made you more interested in the technical aspect to, I guess, the control room that you're talking about?
You coming up around the studio, you know how important sound quality is.
Talking about?
You coming up.
Alright, this is a possible overweave of two pieces of audio, me and him talking at the same time. Let's take a look.
Talking about?
You coming up.
Go ahead and split this onto a different track. Go ahead and mute this and make sure that they're not overlapping.
You coming up around
That's
the
good.
studio, you know how important sound quality is. So while I've always been concerned with writing, when I got into music, it made no sense to record a bunch of good music and have it engineered crappy and have it come out sounding terrible, and you don't even want to put it out. So that goes right along with doing broadcast production. It doesn't matter if you've got all the credentials, if you can't do the work, if you can't sit in the control studio and make sure that cameras are on the talent at the right time, that different clips run at the appropriate time, and what are you in it for? So it's all, I would think it's all in a ball of wax. It's like one and the same, like you said, jack of all trades. And especially like if you're involved with media now, you got to know like you have to have so many different aspects covered. You can't just be like, you have to be multifaceted. And if you're not, then the next person who does know those things is probably going to get that job. So it always pays them.
Alright, let me go ahead and edit this next part out. Go ahead and throw my audio up there. Go ahead and get this question out of the way.
Alright, my last question for you, I guess, is could you mention again the instrument that you played and what inspired you, or who or what in particular made you? Because it seems to me like that was the starting point, is where music went. It got to technical, and then got to technical, and then it got to television broadcasting, production studio, in there. What got the ball rolling for you in the instrument you played and the type of music that you played?
Well, I'm by
Alright, let me go ahead and cut.